The opinions expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host and participants and do not reflect the views of Taunton Community Access and Media, Inc., its management, or directors. Hi, welcome to Charlie Flannery Presents. I'm your host, Charlie Flannery, and today I am very pleased to have as my guest the lovely and talented actress, Miss Lin Hultgren.
Hey,
Lin.
Charlie. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, you know, you've been on this set a couple of times, you know, working on a few things. We'll talk about that later, but how was the drive in?
Drive was smooth sailing all the way.
Did you keep it under 85
I
this time?
did.
Yeah.
I always do.
So tell the folks a little bit about you.
Well, I do acting. I've just started film acting a few years ago. Just started training for it, and
Who do you train with?
Initially I went to Los Angeles. I went to the New York Film Academy for a summer intensive.
Nice.
And then I studied a little bit out there with Will Wallace, Helen McCready.
Oh, yeah.
Just
She's in Arizona, isn't she?
Yeah, well, she goes around with workshops.
Okay, sure.
And then when I came back here on the East Coast, I've been studying with Kevin Lassett.
Is he down on the cave?
Down in Sandwich, yes.
Yep.
Yep.
You've mentioned him before.
Yes, so there. And Steve Blackwood, I was in his master class for a while. It just got to be too much with actually being in films to stick with that. And I've actually observed...
I've done, not to interrupt, but I've done a couple of his cold read classes.
The cold reads, yes.
Yeah. It's like you mentioned, the difficulty of the commitment. It's difficult to commit to like a master class where you're gonna be there every
week, twice a
whatever
month,
it is,
and
you know what I mean?
scene rehearsals in between. It's a lot of
you know,
commitment, and especially with a family. So
I do, I do one of those a month, an intensive, usually with Peter Kelly. He's the on-set coach for NCIS Los Angeles.
Yep.
And I have taken a couple of Steve Blackwood's
the cold
reads,
workshops.
and those have been fun. I did one at the Model Club.
Yes, the Tuesday. I haven't been able to get there. I work Tuesday evenings with the fitness. But
well, you are a talented woman, and you also do sports training, don't you?
Fitness training.
Fitness.
Not necessarily sports, but fitness training.
Do you think you could help a guy like me?
Anyone can improve with exercise. You know, it's just...
Are you implying I'm out of shape?
Not at all. Not at all. There's always room for improvement. Well, yeah, there's always room for improvement.
My father used to do this. My father used to always do this. He was...
No, stretch your neck up like you're going to kiss the sky, pucker up, and move your lips right to left, and then you tighten up your muscles there. That's it.
And do I walk around like this?
No, and don't do it when you're driving either. No,
God,
no.
I'm so glad I trimmed my nasal hair for this episode. I had no idea, you know. Usually that's wardrobe and makeup for me. Trim the ear hair, nasal hair, make sure the...
Too much information, Charlie, too much
that's
information.
What happens when you're a guy and you're older, you know what I mean? So, how about film work?
Film work. Well, I've done let's start with background. Let's just start with that because that's kind of where the beginning for anybody that doesn't know about film work. Background work it's interesting. That's a good place to start out and learn about what happens on a film set. Background work is where you can spend a day or two on a set with someone like Robert Duvall, Robert Downey Jr., Adam Sandler. You don't get to say anything. You just, in the background, you're paid, pittance, but paid, no. And you have to act, but silently.
Yes.
So
Pantomime.
Pantomiming, exactly. So my first background on the East Coast, I'd done background a little bit on the West Coast, not on any really features, but here was for Here Comes the Boom. So that was where it's a fight scene,
Yeah.
and you're there and you're watching people fight. So it's like, like cheering. And then in Grown Ups 2, I was a few rows behind King of Queens. What's his name?
Oh,
Him. Him. So
I saw him.
We're bad.
I saw him at the Melody tent.
Oh,
Chris James?
no, Kevin James. Yes.
Kevin
Okay.
James. Sorry,
Yeah.
Kevin.
So
Well, we'll never work this time again.
no. So it was a few rows behind him, and it was an audience scene where the kids were in a recital, so that something a little bit inappropriate happened. So then the direction, which you get your direction, what to do was like, and then on here, the Heat, I spent 2 15-hour days in 5-inch heels dancing to no music on a dance floor with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. We're having an interaction on a dance. Well, I can say it because that movie's already been out. Interacting on the dance floor, and we were dancing. They put a beat on for us to dance to, and then turn it off so that they could hear the dialogue of them talking.
So did you make the screen? Did you make the screen?
I didn't see the film yet. I don't know.
I saw it for the first time about a month and a half ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Did you see my arms going?
I didn't. I didn't. Of course, next time.
Okay.
I will look
But-
for you. But I've done some background myself, and I remember reading something about the guys that came up with the original audience laugh tracks. All right, and these guys, I guess, are still, their company is still in business today,
Oh,
providing
wow.
laugh tracks, audience guffaws. Like a 10, it's a 10 response or a 3.
Oh, no kidding.
Light chuckle, and these guys said that when they taped background noise, in other words, okay, it's a restaurant full of customers,
Right.
but we're the two stars. The people, if they were told to make noise, they would always tell them to say walla walla.
Walla walla.
Walla,
Walla
walla,
walla.
walla. So-
Oh. Walla walla. Walla walla walla. There's a whole art to that.
Some people
Yes.
say peas and carrots.
Yeah.
I like
Interesting.
walla.
Well, now.
I like walla walla. It's got more flex. Walla.
But now, on to speaking roles.
Yes. Okay.
So right now, I'm really pleased to be working in season 4 of Family Problems, which is a web series.
Nice.
And I'm Federal Agent Wyatt. So I like that. It's a nice, strong role.
Yeah.
And that's exciting
Too
for
bad
me.
you couldn't
And
have brought some footage from
police
that today.
training. Well, it's not. Yeah, it's still filming.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm getting the police training and stuff. So that's exciting for me.
How many episodes have you shot?
I have no idea. I just show up when we're supposed to go out. It's like we're still
Just
have to go back and
The
like
perfect
reshoot that
access.
day.
Just
So
do
my
what you're
hair's going to
told,
be like
listen
this.
to the director.
Yeah,
everything
just
will
show
be
up
well.
and be
Yep.
present and
Yep.
okay, what
Yep.
do you want me to do?
Good.
Okay,
Good for
yeah,
you.
and know your lines by all means to make it effective.
Well, you're not only talented, but you're a lot of fun, to work with. So I can
Oh,
understand
well,
why
thank
people
you,
would want to work
Charlie.
with you.
Thank you. That's so sweet of you.
Well, it's the truth.
Oh, I appreciate
I'm going to
that.
make you a star.
Yeah, the casting couch
I
is
said
where.
one of these days, I was telling my son Lenny.
Oh no, don't get me going on the southern accent, please.
Because I have to do this. I have to do this Kickstarter commercial,
Right.
and I do have to do a Southern accent.
Well,
so
if
I
you-
have been trying my best to arrange such a thing for about a week now,
I see.
and it's tough.
Well, you let me know if you need a daughter. Oh, no, not a daughter. I would be your wife.
You could be
You
my.
have a son. We have a son.
We have a son.
So, hey,
We have a son.
all right. Well, you let me know because, I could possibly be there.
Praise Jesus.
right, enough about you. More
Enough
about me.
about
No?
me. Yeah, let's talk about you. Yeah, you know. But yeah, doing
No, I'm
accents
only
is like a trip in itself.
It
you know?
is. Well, I was a rude customer I needed to have a Boston accent. And I did some training to eliminate my Boston accent, or whatever accent that was.
Did it ruin it for you?
No, because I can go right back to it.
Good.
So I did have a small scene where I was a rude customer with a Boston accent in That's E, which the film isn't out yet. It's an indie film. Indie film is local, non-feature, non-studio film. So I used my Boston accent for there. Yeah, but going in and out, it's nice to have them. It's handy.
Yeah, I was surprised. I watch a couple of series on TV. I love Sons of Anarchy,
Yeah.
and I love Homeland, you know. And on Homeland, there's this guy who plays a CIA agent. His name is Quinn. That's his character.
Uh-huh.
And he sounds like the most stereotypical American CIA agent you've ever seen.
He probably studied that.
The guy is a Brit.
Oh,
The
wow.
guy is a Brit. They interviewed him in regard to his character on the show. And I was stunned that he
Wow.
spoke totally with a British accent. And I mean, it just, to me, amplified what a talented guy he was.
That's
'Cause,
talent.
you know,
Yes.
not only is he credible, but I mean, it's a role in and of itself without having to master that accent.
It's a whole nother dimension when you have to know your lines, be in your character, and have that non-accent or however it applies. Absolutely.
Damian Lewis, he was on. I think he was on Homeland as
I
well.
haven't seen Home. I don't
You ever
watch
seen?
TV.
Oh God,
that.
it's on Showtime. One of the best shows ever. But he has a Brit accent, and in Sons of Anarchy, Charlie Hunnam, who plays Jax Teller, he's a Brit,
Wow.
and it astounds me, that they can deliver just such grand performances as actors, and then, I don't know. I haven't developed the ear for it yet. I'm still trying to work
for
on
the British
Southern
accent?
thing.
Yeah,
the Southern
British.
thing.
Yeah,
you know.
I did a really bad British accent for another indie film, which is in post-production, called Drop Shot Samurai, where I played Attorney Fitzroyce, and I just had a very bad. Well, the whole film is about how bad indie films can be. Sort of. It's a kind of a spoof. So that's why I chose the British accent, because I'm really bad at that.
Would you
if
care
you
for
could-
some vodka?
No, thank you. I don't share drinks.
It's really just water.
I know.
Otherwise, you would have said yes.
No.
But so those are all projects that keep you going, and
Yeah.
like the fitness training. How often do you do that?
I do that almost every day, sometimes, and a few times a week other times. So I have a few things going on. I work for a recreation department in Auburn, where I go and I teach.
For the town?
For the town.
Nice.
Yeah, so I teach 2 nights for that, sometimes one night, it depends.
Shout out to the town of Auburn. You're blessed to have
Auburn,
this good.
Auburn Recreation,
Sorry,
Auburn Recreation
Auburn.
Department. And then I'm right
Too
now.
bad, Auburn. Maybe next time.
Well, I do on-site fitness training, so I can take it anywhere. I also work in Worcester right now. I have an 8-week session going on at North High School,
Nice.
which is through the adult education, and I have
Cool.
all ages. But then I also have a football player from Spencer. I get students that need credits, so they'll come and take the class. And I do personal fitness training. I work with a few people where I actually go to their apartment complex and work with them there.
Oh, I bet that costs extra.
Well, it's more than a small group session,
see,
but
I see.
I try to make it affordable because fitness is important, and I
Yes,
think
it is.
I have a special student rate. I go to WPI, I go to Clark University, and I go to UMass, and
Oh,
I have a
nice.
special student rate for students because
UMass Amherst out there?
no, UMass Medical in Worcester. Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, and then I also,
Nice.
I just started in July working for a company called Forever Fit, and that's not my company, but it's out of Somerville. And for them, I go into assisted living homes for elderly 65 and plus,
Nice.
65 to 100 or more.
Wow.
And there's a whole program that we do for mobility. It can be done seated, you know, and some that can stand will stand and hold their chairs. So we do a whole section for mobility, seated or standing strength, resistance exercises, either with the weights or we have bands, and then a little stretch. So I do that on Fridays, sometimes Monday mornings, Tuesdays.
My mother's 89,
God
and she lives
bless
with me.
her.
I think I might have to have you come by
Yeah.
once a week, give her a good, 2 or 3
Give her-
hour workout. She'll,
Give her a
she'll
workout.
nap. Yeah,
She'll
yeah,
sleep well.
Yeah, really.
She'll stop saying, Charlie.
And now, so you stay busy as heck.
I stay busy. And then I move my fitness people around, like if I have the opportunity to work on a shoot. I passed up TED too, because I didn't want to cancel. I had a whole section, a whole Friday full of elderly people waiting for me, and I just, you got to have your priorities.
I did get to work on TED too.
Oh, you did?
That's all I
Yeah?
can say, because it's not out yet.
Right, yeah.
But it was a good day.
Good. And I just started, I was just cast, I'm excited about this. Steve Day has written another indie film called Just You and Me and Your Lonely Mother. And I'm going to be the lonely mother.
Oh, I was going to say you could borrow Ma.
No, totally dysfunctional.
She's not in the union. She'll work.
Will she?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I keep busy between that and having a teenage son. It's busy. And my
God,
cat
yeah.
rescue projects.
The good thing is, though, having raised 6 kids it turns out, I know, that's why I'm certifiable, but it turns out that after all those years, you'll find out they were at all those times that you tried to tell them something and they would go, whatever, they were actually listening to you.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And
it
you'll
is.
find it's very rewarding to have it come back. I
is.
find that today's generation of kids, whether they're anywhere between 15 and 30, are just so grounded, or so much more grounded, I
Yes.
find, than I was at that age.
It's a whole different world
I'm
now.
still not grounded.
I think a lot of it, no, neither am I. I'm like, well, I think a lot of it maybe has to do with what's accessible, like the internet and that whole, you can learn so much without leaving your, back in the day you had to go out and play in the street and when I grew up, we go out and play with friends in the street. But now they can get educated online, and my son was actually, he's not going to like this, but he was on an online school for 2 years.
Huh.
And that's where I realized what you said about listening, because we went to Elizabeth Warren's office to, ask her to support the online education in Massachusetts. And I heard my son actually saying what I had spoken about when I thought he wasn't listening, how the online school was actually an educational lifeline for so many students that couldn't go to school, that maybe have disabilities or
Wow.
whatnot. And he sat there, and I was just like, wow, he listens,
Well, now, that's an interesting concept. At what age, for what age groups do they have this program out there?
Oh, the online?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Uh-huh.
I had heard about it in California, and they have it. Many states had it, but when we actually wanted it here in Massachusetts, they didn't have it. There was one school called MAVA at Greenfield. So it was like a pilot school, I guess, Massachusetts Virtual Academy. It was in Greenfield. It was actually a school, but they had the online component to it.
I see.
And that's where they have, it's like public school online. That's,
Yeah, I mean, with Skype and all that type of
yeah,
stuff.
they
you would
had
think,
classroom
yeah, sure,
lessons,
sure.
but it's good for people that have to, like, let's say for families that have young people that have to work, someone that has to take care of an elderly parent, or people that don't have, but then also people that are ill and can't actually go to a physical school. So it's just been approved. Well, that's why I missed that film with David O. Russell, was because I had to, at that very same time, I was supposed to have an interview. I can't think of the name of it.
American Hustle?
Yes, for that.
I was in it,
I wasn't, because I was in front of the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education.
Being
Because
a
I was
good mom.
being a good mom
Advocating
and
for your son.
advocating for the children of Massachusetts.
Good.
So, yeah. What part did you play in that, in American Hustle?
I was in the mob bar scene.
Mob bar scene. You, Charlie?
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Yeah. And
Who was casting that?
and it was funny because I had worked 2 days, and I was like very close to all the stars. I was this close to all the stars, and they had asked me afterwards if I would be interested in coming back to do an expanded role
Wow.
with 1 or 2 lines. Of course, I said, "What are you, crazy? Like, I got time for that?"
Right.
But anyway, so I was totally psyched. And then what happened in the middle of it all was the Boston Marathon bombings.
Oh.
And it
right.
just put the
God.
kibosh on all the shooting schedule. And before you know it, instead of having me come in for my scene, they go down to New York City
Right, yeah.
and shoot Bobby De Niro, who, I mean, he's gotten his share of FaceTime.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
It's your
I
turn,
could use
Charlie.
a break. You know, Bobby, it's Charlie. Save some for Charlie. Come on. You know what I mean? I love you, though. You know, he is good. He is good. But that's that, and you can see me briefly, you know,
Yeah.
in the background. But I saved all the emails back and forth that were leading up to it. You know what I mean? God. But that was a great movie, and a lot of Boston people worked
A lot
it,
of Boston.
You know?
The judge, I just saw the judge, a lot of people that I worked with on the judge, a lot of Boston, familiar faces
I
on the
haven't
judge.
seen that yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good film. I don't know if we're supposed to be reviewing films here, but
can
I
offer
thought
an
it was,
opinion.
I did. I mean, I knew the ending because I had sat in the courtroom for
Uh-huh.
the time, so I knew what was going to happen. I still enjoyed it. I thought it was a good, compared to a lot that's out there, like a good family, and it portrayed what can happen in families. I'm not going to ruin it for you. You didn't see it yet.
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
I think
But-
you'll enjoy it.
I'm holding off. I think I'm going to go see that Fury with Brad Pitt.
I
But-
haven't seen that.
You know, we've had you on the show, on the station.
Magic
and
of Kids.
On the Magic of Kids.
Fitness
and
Guru, Miss Lin.
Fitness Guru, Miss Lin. And we've got the makings of a great cast. We're fortunate to have Magic Steve
Magic
Charette.
Steve Charette is amazing.
He is. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this guy, for 30 years, he has practiced the craft of I was going to say witchcraft, but
No witchcraft.
magic.
Magic.
He's a good witch, but and so for him it's like boom, boom, boom. I mean, I've stood right next to him, and I know what he's going to do, and I'll be watching. I know he's going to do this. I know he's going to do this, and I'll watch him, and he still pulls it off.
Yeah.
You know, he's that
Yeah.
quick
Oh,
and polished.
he's
you know?
very polished.
And then, you know, I play ringmaster Charlie, and my gig is pretty easy because all I have to do is talk to the kids, tell them a few jokes, and you know, I have the type of persona. You know, you could take me from here now, put me in front of 3,000 people, and I could do 20 minutes. You know what I mean,
Right.
without breaking a sweat. But you have really the toughest role of all. You know what I mean? Because you're actually
Trying to
trying to be
incorporate
Miss
some
Lin.
sort of educational
We're gonna work.
aspect of fitness and health and whatnot.
I
And
love the scene you did. It was there was the
Episode
second-
number 2.
It was episode
with
number 2, our
Pennies.
all-time favorite, and you had the thing going on with the Coca-Cola
And the pennies and the
pennies
soda,
and the
yeah.
rust, and the kids love that, and we've also been blessed to have a constant supply of 4
Smart.
brilliant, smart. I mean, I'm worried they're going to take my job, you know. And
Watch out.
with every episode, we get a new batch of 4 different kids, supplied to us by a wonderful woman named Zafia Latessa.
Zafir.
We'd like
Shout
to
out
give a
to
big
Zafir.
shout out to Zafia, and so that's been fun. I can't wait till we can develop that a little bit further along. I still think we need some type of a foil, like a Mr. Green Jeans or.
No, it's in the works. It's a process.
I originally voted.
Don't say it. Don't even say it. Don't say it, Charlie. Let's
Measure it.
move on.
Measure it.
Moving on. Let's move on to that
I-
other show we were talking about.
Well, okay. Okay. In the midst of all this madness,
Yes.
just because I like to stay busy, I've been working scene by scene with a good buddy of mine, and I'm sure you know him, Mr. Bobby Kenny.
Bobby Kenny.
He and I co-created this idea for a show called Wilson's Limo. And we've been shooting the scenes one at a time, you know, and they could run anywhere from 3 minutes to 7 minutes, you know. And then what we try to do is after we shoot that scene live, one take, just like we're doing this, one take, no rehearsals, right? We'll fade to black, and then we'll do almost like a inside the actor's studio thing where we'll talk about our characters, or we may talk about recent goings on. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun, and the feedback I've gotten is that people really enjoy it, and they watch as we introduce each new character onto the show, you know, because it kind of advances the storyline as well. And we had a woman who was a character on the show, and then she had some conflicts. So what we had to do, and this is the magic of TV and the pen or the computer, we had to kill her off.
Kill her off.
Kill her off, you know. But I told her not to worry, you know, if her situation changes.
Reincarnation.
A dream sequence. It was a dream. It was a
sequence,
dream
right.
sequence. You know what I mean? We
Good
had
plan.
another fella, Bill Ayers, who was on. He had some conflicts that came up, and so we had him go back to prison on a parole violation, and we got Ken Siddons to come on. So now the cast is Alex Cash, Roger Wilmore, Bobby Kenny, Ken Siddons, me, and
Rod Wilmer.
I did, yeah, I
Okay.
did. Didn't I say?
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. That's a good cash. I don't know. That's a good cash. It's a good cash.
Yeah, I can't wait for the cash. But but what we're about to do on a shoot that's coming up in about 3 weeks is we're about to introduce a new character.
I've heard of her.
And her name is Gina. And we did a nationwide search. And I have to tell you that you were unanimously voted on. I asked all the other cast members, I said, name 3 actresses that you would consider to play Gina. And some of them only came back with 1, but it was unanimous.
Yeah.
So I look forward to working with you on Wilson's
It's going to
Limo.
be
I
a
want to
fun
thank you for
character.
coming on today.
Is it over?
Yeah,
Oh my
it just-
goodness,
I'm telling you, it just
Charlie,
goes so
we were just
quickly.
getting warmed up.
I know. We could do this standing on our heads. But listen, I'd like to thank Lin Hultgren for being my guest today on Charlie Flannery Presents. And I'd like to thank you for tuning in. If you have an idea for a show, please send an email to charlieflannery@verizon.net. In the subject line, put "Be a Guest" and give me a little bit of a breakdown of what you might like to talk about or a funny bit you might like to do. And we may have you here one day on Charlie Flannery Presents. Until then, stay safe.